Hey, it's a midday type of broadcast here, and this one I'm going to state that this will be maybe a lot of M's here, like memoirs and musings of the mystery of America's manifest destiny and my life. I haven't really followed up on the part one of the my journey in Mormonism, uh, whatever else it said, magic and mind control or whatever the hell it said. Experiences in my life, including a lot of spiritual experiences that resonate with some people and don't resonate with a lot of people. And I wanted to leave some thoughts. I never know when I'm going to vanish. And if that sounds a little odd to some people, take a look around the internet, take a look around your world, and you can see that people do vanish. Look at, what was it? The Mormon Next Door, that girl that I did a few videos reviewing several of her videos. She did the What Mormons Believes videos, so she was like, pro-Mormon apologetics, sort of. And she just vanished, Maybe she got a life that was better. Maybe she figured out she was defending something that wasn't true but didn't want to stand up and say, hey, you know what, I was wrong, or maybe something tragic happened. I hope not. She seemed like a nice girl. I didn't think she was trained in the ministry. I think she was emulating NLP through assimilation. I'd like to think so. I'd like to think she was just mind controlled and not one of the guilty ones that know what the hell they're doing at the top. And they do permeate at various levels in the church, in a society that probably very, very few of you are aware of existing. I speed up the video editing sometimes to make it easier for people to listen to, because sometimes I'm a little slow and maybe it masks my feelings sometimes. So I really do have things to say that are worthwhile saying today that I maybe haven't expounded on enough or haven't shared. Wow, lots of Facebook activity going on here today. I'm getting notifications of. So I wanted to establish a few things in people's minds that I think are important with regard to mind control, practices that are very effective, not only in Mormon apologetics, not only in the church, but in many churches, and not only in churches, but in our society at large, of which Mormonism is a microcosm. And that would be the tactic of discrediting people through association or finding some flaw, something that you can find as a flaw. Sometimes it might be a legitimate mistake made or a flaw that a person has, but exploiting that to the point and associating them with something especially that you've already, that those who are in power have established in the minds of the people as something very, very negative, and then managing through that to discredit everything that that person or organization has stated. And I'd just like to share that that's a really screwed up but very effective tool, because we need to evaluate information for what it is, not based on something like I just described. All sorts of people have said things that were true but have been discounted because they got a bad reputation. They got associated with something negative. And that is a really popular and effective smear technique that is used against people who share information that disturbs those in power, whether it be within power in the LDS Church or in society at large or within another organization. So we need to do that. An example would be look at what the apologists have done to attempt to discredit in the minds of LDS people primarily the material put together by Jeremy Rennell in what was called the CES letter, or a letter to the director of the church educational system, which so many people have read and were able to recognize factual evidence of things that just are not reconcilable to the church's narrative that this God, whose character is completely inconsistent with what is taught about him, guides the church and is all-knowing and unchanging and all-wise and just, and attained all the attributes of godliness as they have been taught to us, and yet violates every one of his own tenets for existence. So when Jeremy did that, I'm not an expert on this. I mean, I've done about 10 CES letter videos that went from the beginning to not even to the end, and then I just stopped doing them, at least for a while. So we got through the faking the priesthood revelation, backdating that, after the plural relationships, plural marriage. Wasn't marriage at the beginning with Joseph Smith. And so I see people on the apologetic side saying things like, oh, Jeremy Rennell's, he's been discredited, he's been debunked, he's been he was disingenuous, dishonest, deceitful. Yeah, deceitful. And so somebody finds something in there that they are able somehow to construe as deceitful, which I sincerely don't think was the case. I haven't seen anything I thought was deceitful. Did he do anything? Did he say anything that might not have been accurate? Sure, that's possible. Are his beliefs completely the same, as maybe mine are? Probably not in everything, not in all things. Does that mean he's deceitful? No. And if he was, who cares? Sure. I mean, he's not running for office. He's not saying, I'm Jesus Christ, you have to believe in me as a perfect being. That's not a standard we need to apply to him. And as far as I can see, he seems like a really decent and honest person who just said, you know what, this stuff's a bunch of curlom waste, and I'm going to expose some things here. So these guys came out with, with these accusations to smear him. And that is good enough for a lot of people to say, oh, well, he's dishonest or deceitful, like their leaders aren't. And they're going to take that on an assumption. And I don't know what, honestly, maybe we shouldn't even be talking about this, since I can't, it turns my stomach to read stuff from Fair Mormon at this point. So I just don't even hardly ever look at anything they have to say. But whatever it is that they said that they didn't, that they try to construe as disingenuous, in the minds of so many idiots or so many mind-controlled people that are just used to looking to their leaders, or maybe to these guys too, at Fair Mormon, to bolster their ability to believe a bunch of stuff that, is self-contradictory. They can look at this and go, all right, well, we'll just throw everything out that he said. He's got 72 questions there, which, CES director did not answer. But, let's just throw it all out because Of what? Because maybe he implied that, there's a high probability of Joseph Smith garnering some of his information out of, View of the Hebrews or Spalding manuscript or, late war, and then finding some things to say, oh, well, statistically, you could maybe find coincidentally similar things, so that means he's deceitful. It doesn't mean he's deceitful. I think that might have been what they claim, because I don't know what else they could claim. I mean, the guy shows some evidence that obviously there are things that look like, hey, this looks pretty familiar. And that means everything that the guy said was wrong? It doesn't prove that the Book of Mormon came out of the Spalding manuscript or the View of the Hebrews. It probably has material from all sorts of things. That whole deal, the Marco Polo travels, conquest of Mexico. There's a lot of things where it could have come, but we don't need to fall into the trap of believing that we have to find out where everything was sourced. It could have been sourced through sorcery, like his wife said. Right through the magic rock. It could have been sourced that way, but whoever's on the other side of that rock, sure made a lot of mistakes. There are better sources beyond the veil than whoever the hell told Joseph Smith what to put in that book. So that'll be my little lunchtime morsel here. I may get back and get into some serious memoirs here. And for now, if I vanish or someone else discredits other people or me on things that are important to look at, my advice would be view the facts. Like a loved one of mine once told me, Dad, even Hitler did some good things. So evaluate information for what it is factually. Don't allow yourself to be caught up into the smear tactic that is used in the media and in the church. In the name of the age of reason, check out what Thomas Paine has said. Even if he may have been an illuminist, he was pretty bright and pretty on target with a lot of stuff. It's on Sacred Texts and it's free. Amen. Have a great lunch.